Since I started my own solar power business, a company called Supreme Power, back in 2010, looking back, I now realise I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. After speaking directly to over 2,000 Australian solar power business owners, I see that most people are making the same mistakes. In fact, construction is one of the highest categories for company insolvencies in Australia, which includes solar PV businesses, and that was back in 23-24, and since then the actual stats have got worse. It's really sad, but people are losing their businesses, they're losing their family homes, meaning there hasn't been a better time than now to ensure our businesses have healthy margins. Although I think we're kidding ourselves if we think we can rely on staff to remember to get everything right. I'm currently working with several solar power companies. I don't actually sell solar myself anymore, but these companies that I'm working with at the moment are actually crushing their local competition using an automated process. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how they do that and the results that we found. You see, what they've done is they've automated 4 main tasks, and what that's done is it's increased their revenue between 20 to 30%. What it's also done is it's also increased their bottom line as well by reducing their marketing expenses, getting a lot more organic leads. It's a strategy that's helping them run their solar power business with far less stress and headaches. So the first one is response times, which relates to how fast the solar power business responds to a lead that actually comes through. These are well-rounded studies that show that customers buy from the first company that calls them about 78% of the time. We know when a home or business property owner fills out a form, they're ready there and then to actually discuss solar. It's front of mind. So if your team, whether you've got setters or salespeople, calls them within an hour or 2 hours, or even worse the next day, life gets in the way, or maybe your competitor calls them first, there's zero reason to make contacting these leads a lottery. It's almost certainly going to be costing you real money in lost revenue. Now if you're working from a spreadsheet, hopefully you're not, because that's the biggest way you can bleed revenue. But if you're working from a CRM and it's not actually doing that automatically for you and making sure that SMSs and emails are going out, to ask them when the best time to call would be, and helping your setter or salesperson connect with your actual lead. In a minute I'll explain exactly how this job can be done on autopilot. The next big thing is follow-ups. Now this is a huge one. I speak to many installers saying, well, we've given them a quote, if they want it they'll call back. But unmanaged follow-ups are the biggest leak in any solar power business, the amount of money that you'll be losing by adopting that strategy. I believe it's the single most expensive leak in trade businesses across Australia by not following people up. It's never really very smart to sort of leave this up to staff to remember to call them back. I'm sure you'd want your staff to do that, but you can't micromanage them, and they're not paying for the leads. So you're just opening up the opportunity that the staff aren't going to do that every single time. There needs to be an automatic process really, because warm leads turn into cold leads and you just end up buying, they still get a solar system but just end up buying from someone else. A strong follow-up process that includes an automated SMS and email when customers aren't quite ready. It's called a nurture campaign, so that your business is at front of mind when they are actually ready to buy solar. Can add an extra 10%, 15% to your revenue. I mean, if you paid for your staff to actually educate these customers, it's reasonable to expect that your business gets the deal. The next thing is referrals. If you received many referrals in the past, you're probably well aware of how easy they are to close. And the reason why is because the trust barrier isn't a barrier anymore. Their friend or family actually referred your business. I see conversion ratios for referral leads, 80, even 90%. So that they are your best leads. Yet very few solar power businesses have a strong, consistent lead strategy, really dialed in. And it's often left for, staff to ask customers for referrals. Or maybe the company did a referral offer a while ago and it's just kind of fizzled out and it's been forgotten about. And if that's the case, it's going to be costing you an absolute fortune in missed revenue. Almost all of your customers who have had a good experience, should be referring their friends and family who don't have solar. But it needs to be worth their while to actually do that. So offer $300 to $500 for referral lead, and have a really robust referral lead process on autopilot, and I'm sure you'll see your revenue increase by a conservative 10% just with that one strategy. And then finally, 4 is reviews. Now, we all know we need reviews. According to capterra.com.au, they did a study and it's shown that 98% of consumers in Australia check online reviews before buying a product or service. Now, I don't know about you, but I also check reviews every time or most of the time, before I try out a new product or service myself, especially if that product or service is worth thousands of dollars, like a solar PV system is. I'm not sure whether you know or not, but 5-star reviews or any reviews, Google picks up on the keywords, so it helps rank your actual website as well, which brings in more organic leads. And your CRM, hopefully you're using a CRM, should be using AI to answer and respond to these leads with more relevant keywords, which also helps rank your website. And that can be done on autopilot, literally no work from your side, bringing in more inquiries from home and business owners in your local area. If you have 1,000 customers, you should have at least 500 to 800 reviews. But a lot of solar companies who have that many customers, don't have that level of reviews. And it's just a case of asking at the right time. But again, you don't want to be relying on your staff to do that either. It's your business, it's your revenue that you're losing. This can also be done on autopilot. What the solar app is, an app that you can use on your computer, a tablet or your mobile phone. And it manages the step-by-step process between leads all the way through to installed jobs. Manages the repetitive jobs rather than leaving it up to your staff members, such as response times, follow-ups, referrals, reviews, solar designs, grid connect applications, booking in electricians, EWRs. It does everything end to end, all on one platform. It also integrates with Formebay and Pylon as well, so you can and Zero, so you can have your Zero doing the accounting, Formebay managing the actual products that have been installed, Pylon does the design, it does the quotes, and then the solar app, which is kind of like the filing cabinet, it keeps everything organized so you know where every single customer is all the time. The director also has access to the dashboard, so they can see all the stats and see exactly what's happening with every single department. Most solar companies use generic CRMs like multinational Salesforce or Pipedrive or Zoho or Monday, but these generic software tech support or account managers, these people, they don't work in the Australian solar power industry. A lot of them aren't even in Australia and therefore don't understand grid connect applications, EWRs, STC compliance, all that sort of stuff. And that's why the solar app is so handy, to be able to have your entire business just on one application. And like I say, we've got several partners who are running their solar build businesses using the solar power app. There's Chris Ramsey from Ram Select Solar in Melbourne. Him and his team are using the solar power app, and he's not only increased his revenue by 30%, he's also 10x these 5-star Google reviews, and in 2025 won Staten Solar Installer of the Year in Victoria. And now he runs his entire business simply on organic leads, which has freed up a lot of marketing capital. And his conversion ratio is significantly higher than what it was when he was, going out and marketing and trying to sell the cold traffic. And now his business runs almost entirely on organic leads. Another customer, Asif Latif, who owns Probec Solar in Sydney. He was going to sign up with Pipedrive, but scrapped that setup, and we got him set up on the solar app. He's also added about 30% to his revenue in his business, also increasing his bottom line. And he's pretty much 10x his Google reviews as well, so he's getting a lot more organic leads coming through from SEO basically, which doesn't cost them any money now. So both those customers are doing really well using the solar app in the industry right now. So when you give your team a crystal clear process to follow, when that human error kind of disappears, it increases your organic ranking. You get more leads coming through organically, you get more referral leads coming through, and everything just builds on itself, it just compounds. The amount of red tape in the industry and the amount of taxes that we pay in Australia, I can't imagine what it would be like for some of these people to actually lose their family home and their business and everything that they've worked for. It must be a horrific situation for them. So, which is why it's so important to turn our solar power business into businesses. And I don't run a solar power business anymore. I sold it in 2018, but to turn it into a really predictable, valuable asset that isn't stressful. Stressful is not healthy. I'm sure you're well aware of that. We personally handle the configuration, and all we do is we just redirect your leads into the system once it's configured. Maybe you have setters, maybe you have salespeople. We cater for whichever business model you're actually running with, and we customize the process for your business too. It includes a design, quick connect application, calendars for installs, and for the energy assessments when they're getting sales, and it also notifies you of tasks when the EWR is ready once the form bay has been signed off. Now, this is a fairly new product that we launched just 6 months ago. The following month, all of our spots are full, but we do have spots the month after. So if you're ready to plug the leaks in your solar power business and you want to make an extra 20-30% more in your company, click on the button below, answer a few quick questions, and let's see if your business is a good fit.